There's a popular term we use in the ham radio community known as mic fright. You spend all your time studying for the exam, going to take it, and then waiting on your call sign, and when it comes time to talk, you freeze up. It's natural, many operators experience it, and even many seasoned operators experience mic fright. So in this video, I'm going to go over some tips and some ways that you can get over that and be more comfortable calling out on your first contact, or maybe even after that. We're going to learn the etiquette for making a QSO and how it typically goes. And the more you hear these, the more comfortable you will be keying up the mic. The first thing that you need to keep in mind is everybody you're talking to are ham radio operators. That's it. They're just like you and me. They're just people. So don't be afraid to speak to them. It's okay to get a call sign wrong. Ham radio operators understand, and it does happen often. So don't be afraid of screwing up a call sign. If you're not sure, just ask, and I'm sure whoever you're talking to will be more than welcome to repeat their call sign so you can get the contact right. So we're going to go over 4 tips for getting over mic shyness on the ham radio and how to get started calling CQ and making that first QSO. Number 1 is listen. You will learn so much by just listening to your local repeaters and listening to the way hams talk to each other and the etiquette in which they speak. They'll also teach you how hams address each other, the different call signs, just in case in the future you want to contact that ham, and how they ID. This goes without saying, this is also a great way for you to learn which repeaters are active in your area and which are not. The second tip that I have for you all is just to check in the nets. Number 1 is going to give you a really good idea on when nets are held on each repeater that you're listening for. Nets most oftentimes are just a way for hams to get together and share information on a mass scale, as well as conduct emergency preparedness. And typically they will start with a check-in procedure. And this is really simple. Most oftentimes everyone's included, and the best way to learn this is just to go back to number 1 and listen. But everybody's going to check in one at a time, and usually you state your call sign and you state your name, maybe your location, and whatever other information the net control might ask for. One thing about checking into these nets, once again, don't be nervous. It's okay if you leave out information. It's okay if you get something wrong. The more you listen, the more you'll understand that not everybody is perfect and not everybody does everything the right way, and that's okay. Just follow what everyone else does. Listen in for your first time. Listen how they check in. Listen how much time is in between the check-ins to give yourself appropriate time to key up to make sure you're not keying up on somebody else or someone keys up on you. But you'll know if you're in a very active area with a lot of people on the net, there's going to be times when people key up on each other. That's okay. Usually net control will be able to hear this, and they'll ask the other station who wasn't heard to try it again. And that's okay. So don't be afraid of accidentally keying up on somebody. If you don't hear anybody and you key up, that's okay. Another cool thing about nets is sometimes those ham radio operators that are conducting nets or those listening that have been around for a while will hear your call sign and recognize that it's new. They may look you up on the internet and see you have a new call sign, or they may just want to say hi. So stick around after the net, after you check in once or twice there, and see if somebody doesn't reach out to you. That's actually how I made one of my first contacts. Is I checked into my local net for the first time. They recognized a new call sign and they wanted to get to know me. So that's a really great way to instigate a new contact with somebody. Just check in the nets. You never know who's going to try to reach out to you, and it allows you a very structured way of keying up and transmitting without being too nervous about what you need to say. Most nets will either have a comment or a short term. So whenever you call in, you'll hear a lot of people say comment or short term. So what this means is some people, if this net allows it, would like to make a comment for the net for everybody once everybody's checked in. And you don't have to do that. Most oftentimes, from my local area, most people check in and say no comment. And I really recommend this if you're mic shy as a beginner, because then you won't have to talk too much. You can just state your call sign, your name, where you're from, and that's about it. Now, one good way, though, to break yourself in is if you'd like to make a comment and just let everybody know you're new and you're listening, you can do that. So you'll check in and say, this is my call sign, I'm from this is my name, I do have a comment. And then once check-ins are done and they start going through the list of people that ask for a comment, just state that you're new to the area, you're just trying to get acquainted with radio, and I'm sure there are going to be people out there that are more than happy to help you along your journey. Number 3, so this is one of the ones that made me nervous the most and still seems a little awkward today, is you got to know what to talk about. Now, us ham radio operators, we use the word chewing the rag when we're just making conversation with somebody. And still, that term puts me off to this day because I'm not one to talk about nothing. And I feel like chewing the rag is just about that. So, basic etiquette in a QSO radio contact with somebody new is you'll introduce yourselves, you'll talk about where you're from, and then usually the conversation moves right into your equipment. So at that point, you can start talking about your rig, your antenna, how much power you're driving, how long you've had the equipment, how you like it. So there's a lot of information that you can cover there. And you can also ask the other individual about their equipment. You can ask about what antenna they're using, what they think about it. And this is a really good opportunity for you. You can make conversation by asking them questions about the hobby. Most oftentimes, if you're new and you're keying up, you're going to be talking to somebody that's been there for a while. They'll be able to answer a lot of questions, and it's an easy way to make conversation. And I'm sure hams love questions. They love to answer questions about equipment. So they love to feel like they know something, which is cool because as a newbie, you can absorb a lot of information that way. And I remember a lot of my first contacts, the way I got through them, when I ran out of things to talk about with my equipment, is just talking about their equipment, what they think, if I should buy it, and that type of thing. So that's a really good way to both knock out conversation and learn a lot about equipment, and it's a great way to make your contacts. I remember the first time I made a radio contact, when I started talking about my equipment, I mentioned the word baofeng, and the repeater just went silent. Somebody came back and said, "Wow, I didn't know you were on a baofeng. That's some clear audio for a Chinese radio." And yeah, I mean, they hadn't known that it was a baofeng, which was kind of cool. But yeah, you'll get some of that, and people will make comments, and that's okay. Don't be afraid of talking about your budget equipment. Ham radio is ham radio. My little baofeng back here, I love that thing. It's $30, but it's a ham radio, and it gets out there, and I can talk to people on it. So if somebody asks about what radio you're using, if you're new and you just bought some entry-level equipment, don't be afraid to talk about it because hams love that type of stuff. Number 4 is something that I'm still also having trouble with today, and that's knowing how to break contact. Breaking contact seems always the hardest part to me. This is something you get used to in time, but it's not natural to, in everyday conversation, to go to someone with the intent of contacting them just to say words for a few minutes and just leaving. It's very awkward at first, especially, I mean, for me anyways, and sometimes that this comes back to number 1 is listen to how people break their contact. You'll learn in time that it's not rude for a ham radio operator to talk to you and then say they're going to go or they're going to move on. That's natural in the ham radio world, and it's not a rude thing to do. It's something you'll get used to in time. Just know that it is not rude as a ham radio operator to break contact and move on to that next one. What you would typically do is you would tell the other individual you'll be moving on or something along the lines of that. And what's courtesy in ham radio, I'm sure you've heard it if you're watching this channel, is 73. 73, in simple terms, it just means best wishes. So when you talk to the other operator and it's time to go, hey, I'm going to move on. I'm going to turn off my radio. I've got things to do, blah, 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 whatever you need to say 73 to you, which means best wishes. And then usually you address them by their call sign. Now at this point, this is a good place, if you don't know their call sign, you can't remember it, to ask. Remember, it's completely okay if you forget a call sign. Just ask about their call sign, and that way you can address them politely. So-and-so, this is so-and-so, 73. Now, one way I also hear hams do it is if they're really needing to go, they can address the individual, they can sum up the conversation, kind of close things up, and they say, I've got to go. This is so-and-so to so-and-so, 73 to you, and I'll be clear on your final. What that means is you're allowing them to know that you are listening to their final transmission to you, and after that, you'll be pretty much done with that conversation. Now, one thing I want to address is you'll hear all the time CQ, CQ, CQ. Typically, this is out in the open when you're just trying to call a random station on a simplex or just maybe HF, and you're just trying to get someone to contact you. This is not proper etiquette on a repeater, so don't do it. It's not the end of the world if you do, but it's just kind of a weird stigma in the ham radio community. Typically, if you want to make conversation with somebody on a repeater, either you say, this is so-and-so listening, this is so-and-so monitoring, or if you really need somebody to get back to you, sometimes you just say, hey, I need a radio check. And usually those are the ways that you can instigate a QSO or something on a repeater. Typically, from my experience, when I ask for a radio check, I always get much more than a radio check. So you never know, but just don't call CQ on the repeater. With those tips in mind, just try to go down that list. It should help you out as a newbie to try to get over your mic fright. Knowledge will make you comfortable. So knowledge is going to make you comfortable. Don't be afraid to key up the mic. Listening to all you can, because the more you know, the more comfortable you're going to be. So once you instigate that conversation, the only thing that you need to know is you don't need to talk about drugs. Don't use profanity. Every 10 minutes you ID, and it's really that simple. Generally you would keep it to amateur radio talk, but that's not a legal thing. You kind of get used to the way conversation flows over the radio, because it is different from being in person. So you remember your 3 segments. Just know how to call somebody. And if somebody's calling and you hear them say, this is so-and-so monitoring, or this is so-and-so listening, you can address their call sign, and I'm sure they would be, usually they're saying that because they would like to contact somebody. They would like to talk to somebody. So feel comfortable just addressing them and starting QSO. Once you get over that initial calling, move in, and if you don't know what to talk about your rig. Ask questions. Ask plenty of questions. I'm sure whoever would be more than happy to answer them. And once you're ready to wrap up, don't feel awkward about breaking off the conversation. It's a natural part in the ham world, and it's something you will get used to in time. It's not rude, and I'm sure the other operator won't think it's rude either. Usually they can tell once a conversation is done and there's nothing much more to say, and if you try to drag it on after that, that's when things get awkward. So don't feel afraid to break it off. Just be courteous about it. Send your 73s to the individual and then move on. To this day, I still have mic fright with ham radio. It's something that I just experience, and I think I always will. I get more comfortable in time, but some of these things have kind of helped me, so I just wanted, knowing that my YouTube group, a lot of my subscribers are new to ham radio, I just want to let them know kind of how I came over it, and let them know that everybody experiences it over time. You have people that have been hams for 20 years and they're still a little bit of mic shy. So that's okay. It's completely natural, and just listen and learn as much as you can, but don't be afraid to mess up and get those contacts. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe. I do uploads every Monday and Friday at 2 p.m. and then we do live streams between 6 and 7 on Sundays. Thank you so much for watching, and 73 to you.